Just as a preliminary thing, what did I say? Well, we want to talk about Australia, but oh, I know, with NFWF, what we were giving money for, you know, and well, of course, Miriam, we're going to do you.
She's really some other person.
All right,
she's really the person who knows how to grant money, how to all of that, the money stuff about grants.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the getting of grants, when you started to do that.
Yeah, I can say something about that.
I might mention that we established, the first fund was established with $720. There was for $60 grants for that women's health program in Greenport. Yeah. And we were offering, I guess, 12 grants at $60 each.
Interviewing Marianne. Are you going to be interviewing Marianne?
Yeah. Oh yes, we will be interviewing.
Yeah. Anyhow,
that's really perfect. Oh, thank you so much.
No, I thought it started at 50, went up to $5.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I have shaky hands, but everybody's used to that. Okay, tell me
when. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, so, well...
you wanted to talk about early grants.
Grants, yeah.
As Marianne just pointed out, we started out with $720. That was going to be, and she'll tell you all this when you interview her. There was a women's health organization in Greenport, and we got a donation to give women in our community a $60 grant to go and get, what did it cover? Physical exam, and that was really the beginning of the basic for regular coverage that grew into, how much is it now, Marianne, do you remember? $600?
$550?
Yeah, $550. Which will cover mammograms and physicals and other things, because the idea was that every woman in the community should have access to health examinations by doctors of their own choice. We weren't opening a clinic or anything, but we try to make a lot of things available. I remember great discussions after we started to get some money. We had a few $1,000s by that time, that people weren't asking for money, and we were very worried. We were very concerned about getting out into the community and breaking the silence, as it were, about...
So, let's stop for 1 second.
Concert. I'm going to do songs about age and love, I think, and peace.
We're back on.
I'm back on.
Okay.
Anyway,
back on, yeah.
So we really did some work about making sure that people knew that there was no stigma attached to asking for money from our organization, that the privacy would be completely respected. But even so, there were 9 board members. Those were 9 people who would know that, you know, Mary Jane was asking for money. It took a long time to get over that. It took a long time for women to feel comfortable about coming and asking for money. I think the general amount for coverage, you know, without having to delve into a person's medical and private circumstance, was an easier way for a lot of women to go. But the truth is that there was real need out there.
But there was no means test required, which I thought was very good.
There was no means test required. We did ask for a bill, and we did want to know if you had health insurance. What else did we want to know? If you... there was also the idea that this was a revolving fund, and that we hoped that down the line a contribution could be made back into the fund so that that money would be available to other women. But we didn't require it, and we didn't go after it. And our community has been wonderful. Many women have given money back to that fund. And now there's quite a lot of money in the organization. I mean, when you think, this is a grassroots, specialized community, and that they have done what we have all done, what we've done, is, I think, a small miracle. And think, you know, it's very special. And you mentioned Estrella
Yeah.
a little while ago, the National Lesbian Foundation. Well, you all know, I'm sure, that that started by Nancy Dean and Bev Eastman. They had an idea to have a fund, a foundation, based on Beva's long experience with her family fund, the Lucius and Eva Eastman Family Fund, that gave grants to special, to not typical, to kind of offbeat requests in many ways. And Beva was a great force in her family fund about giving money for feminist groups, for special groups that have no access to foundations. She was a real force for change and for social change, and that's what Estrella was going to be. I was around and was privy to what they were planning and doing, and I sealed a lot of envelopes. But I was not on that board because I was on, neither was Beva, the original Estrella board, because we were both on the Eastman Fund board. We couldn't ethically do both. But they were devoted to multi-ethnicity, multi-racial lesbian women who would be on this board and raise and give money to people, to lesbians, for a variety of groups. Yes, groups, of course, lesbian groups. Thank you, Ann. But that went along. It is now, eventually, Nancy and Beva formed another foundation, one that they, I think, could keep the racial aspects of more clearly. So they left Estrella and went to Open Meadows, which they formed. Nancy said they were riding in their RV trying to figure out a name for their new foundation, and stretching in front of them were Open Meadows, and so, ergo the title of this. And it's a wonderful organization. It's a wonderful foundation. All the women on it are women of multi-ethnic and racial, American Indians, Asians, African Americans, Caribbean Americans, Jewish Americans. I mean, it's really an amazing board. And somewhere along the line, the board invited me and Patsy. They heard we were forming a fund, an anonymous fund, called the Patsy Lou Fund. And it is a fund that will eventually grow into a foundation of its own, giving money for women in the arts. But right now it's a women in music fund, but it has to have lesbian connections. And we're having such a good time with that, and we're really giving money away.
It's an arm now of Open Meadows?
That's right. It is one of the funds that Open Meadows is under the umbrella of Open Meadows, right. Although it's the Patsy Lou arm that gives money for those grants, not Open Meadows. Although they provide all the administrative and other. But it's just a wonderful idea to keep growing out that way, to keep sending. It's like when you look at a family tree and all the family tree up there is really, I have to say, that Bev Eastman and Nancy Dean are at the top of that tree, and we're all branches, and it's very moving. And as you said, Dolores, Madam Anonymous. So we won't tell anybody.
No, we won't.
No, yeah. We'll be very careful. What else would you like to know?
I can't think of anything else to do. Is it any questions? Anybody over here?
I wanted to say a little bit about when I was going off the board. We've had a newsletter for a long time, starting with Mary Ann.
We're talking NFWF now.
Yeah, NFWF. We're at North Fork Women for Women Fund, Incorporated. We always had something. Mary Ann got something out for us right away at the very beginning. What was that called, Mary Ann?
You mean before North Fork Women for
Just
Women Fund?
when a newsletter for the community.
It was called North Fork Women for Women Fund News.
We had
But
a-
earlier, 25 East.
25 East. 25 East, right.
20
the name
years
of the
ago,
road.
yeah.
And anyway, there became a newsletter, which Jan Swanson used to sit at her computer. She had become a very good computer worker. And a bunch of us would get together and proofread and write articles and make things up and lie. And I don't know what we did, but we got newsletters out. And the last, when I was, I had the opportunity to write a message from the president right before the next the next president came in. I wrote something called 2020 Vision, and a play because we were coming into the year 2000, and I thought that was terribly clever, 2020 Vision. But what I talked about was what I hoped to see evolve from the North Fork Women for Women Fund. And those things, some of those things are really happening. That we're out there, that we're part of the community without having to hide ourselves, be who we really are, that our children, our grandchildren in my case, Patsy and I have 2 grandchildren, our families really can be together and proud and have fun and keep raising money for what we believed in and what we were doing, and that somewhere along the line there'd be a building, a North Fork Women for Women home or building or place where we could all meet, a place where we could eat, a place where we could have parties, a place where there's a swimming pool and a gym and a library, and right now our little office is big enough. I think 2 of us can fit in it at the same time, but we're lucky to have that. That was Jan finding us that space. But there has to be a dream, a goal of making a special place that's more than a haven just for us, that is something that contributes to the social fabric of this community, of the North Fork. We can't take on the world. I think that that's probably impossible. But we could have a place to exchange our views, to even act in a social reform way for other parts of the world. There has to be a vision of more than being a social organization. I tremble at the thought of us becoming just a social organization with canned music and disc jockeys and one dance after the other. I think we have to be educators. I think we have to be supporters of one another's goals. We have the most amazing variety of women on the North Fork, and of course Shelter Island as well. And we have a talent and energy that's unimaginable. I mean, probably we could change the world single-handedly if we put our minds to it. But we need to go after grants. We need some big funding to make some of our dreams come true. We need women to put us in their wills, to leave us so that we get an endowment. This organization needs an endowment so that we can build on what we have. And although it's lots of fun now and we do lots of good, I'm sure that we help a lot of women in their health needs. I think that we have to turn that corner and really start building. And it means being politically more drastic or courageous or really creative in a way that takes chances.
Bold, risky.
We have to be bold.
Yes.
And I think there's a tremendous amount of integrity here. And I understand that people want to have fun, but I do believe that we have a bigger mission and that we have to make some change. We have to make change. We have to, this world is too hazardous and too turmoil now for us to just sit back and say, well, we had a great dance last night and we raised $1,400. It has to be more than that. So I keep hoping that that all the new women who are coming into this community, and some of us who have been here a long time, rededicate ourselves to making change happen.
I think, Lucy, that's one of the things the new president wants to do, is getting people to move out into the community more and work more on community projects and community needs.
Phyllis Zwark is a marvelous woman. She is very, very, she has a lot of energy for this task, and she, like Leslie before her, has ideas and goals that she wants to have happen. And that's all very good, but it's going to take the community to do the work.
Well, we're a very fragmented community now.
Yes.
When you get too big, the center starts to fall apart.
Indeed.
And I think they're very concerned about that, the board.
Yes, I'm sure that's true. I hope that there's a group of women who are knowledgeable about fundraising and who find other ways to fundraise, and ways that are, I think, more politically acute, have more political acuity, I should say, and that we go after things that we have not gone after up to now. And that will take clusters of women with expertise in various ways that will have to do that. I think that going out into the community is a fine thing, and we are part of a community of our own as well as larger. But the kind of change that naturally evolves in any organization has to be done with planning and foresight, and I hope that that will happen. I think everybody has good intentions. I think that there are more than good intentions required. I think that what we have to do is really work in some new ways. If we look at Estrella, for example, it's amazing what that organization has done. I don't say that we're supposed to become an international lesbian organization with millions of dollars, but they started the way NFWF started, in a very small way. So we're just going to have to think a little bigger, and I think we will. And I hope that I'm here to see it.
When you say think a little bigger, can you be more specific? And like, do you think people should run for office? Do you think it should be local? Are you talking about local change? Are you talking about national? Should we be reaching out nationally?
No, I think we have to work here first. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen down the road, but I think we have a lot of work to do right here. I think we have to raise money for this organization in some different ways. I think we have to educate people in some different ways. I think that we have to participate with women's funding networks and networks of women and lesbians for social change in a way that we haven't. This is not a political organization. It doesn't think politically at this time. I think it's thinking socially more than politically. Mm-hmm. And I think that that will have to change if it's going to grow, if it's going to change or encompass, set a wider circle. And, you know, it's like throwing pebbles in the water. Mm-hmm. It has to, nature makes it get bigger and bigger. We don't have to be national or international. We don't have to do what has to happen in increments. But I think the time has come when these increments have to grow. And I think they will. I think that things change because the board changes, new people come with new ideas, and I have faith in those women. I think that they'll make things happen as long as there's some energy. And it's difficult in a community where a lot of people only come in the summer, or only come weekends, or only come to have a good time. It's not like being in the middle of New York City, where that's where you do your work. Mm-hmm. So it's a challenge, but what a wonderful challenge. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I just hope that I'm around to see some of it happen. I think we have a terrific board, and I think they're working very hard, and they're doing a lot of good stuff, and I applaud them all. I just always want more. It's never enough for me. Thanks, Dolores.
Oh, thank you very much. Does anybody else? I mean, what do you?
That's great.
Oh, well, thanks to this cheering squad. I never made it. I never went to a prom. I was never on a cheer stuff. So it's very nice to sit here and look at people who are cheering me on.
Here's your pencil back in. Thank you. And thank you, Margie.
Thanks to Margie.
Thank you so much.
Should we
It's
show
wonderful.
Dolores?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
No.
We have one tape of Dolores. We're going to do another at some point. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That
Great.
was wonderful.
Margie, that's great.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Margie Smilow.
You were
Thank
terrific,
you.
Lucy.
It was very good,
Yeah.
very inspiring.
Yeah,
Hope you
I was
guys
going to
can
start
laugh,
singing, so it's a good thing you cut me off.
yeah, the political bent was good at the end. It was great.